Alright, so I'm going to start recording Act 2 the same day as Act 1 just because it took so little time. But this should be going pretty well. I kind of wish I would have got Incinerate, although Fuselage feels pretty good. And since I know that Wrathbreaker doesn't bring his minions up if I sit at the tip of that cliff face there, I don't think he'll be a problem. I just want to take a bit to talk about my plans going into Act 2. I knew full well that a ton of the bosses in this act had very high fire res, and assumed my damage would be severely lacking due to that. After experiencing Act 2 as a firecaster, I can say my damage was higher than expected, but it still felt pretty bad. I defeated Wrathbreaker relatively quickly, but I had to sit there and whittle down Ruja. Then I decided to instantly do Balbala for this character because I just wanted to get it out of the way. After defeating Jom and Ra, the bosses started to feel like meat shields. However, I was 100% set on finishing Keth before ascending. Looking back at this, I feel it would have been much better to ascend instantly after Jom and Ra, but I had never practiced Witch when I was doing my racing, and so I didn't realize the power of the Ascendancy yet. So Trow's second was weird. I for some reason thought that the extra damage as fire was a lot easier to get to, but it's quite difficult. I have to be at high infernal whatever the frick it is. And I guess I could try playing the, I don't know, demon form's really bad on the skills, so I don't know. So this here again was me severely underestimating how insanely powerful demon form is. It is such a ridiculous ascendancy, and I think I'm actually going to make a character where I get no deaths all the way to Act 3 on a Gearless Witch, because this is just absolutely disgusting how strong this is. It allowed me to beat bosses so fast that I wouldn't even have to deal with any of the mechanics, and this was without even just spamming regen gear. As for the trial, it went as normal, just pretty easy. I don't find the first trial to be a problem at all unless you get absolutely screwed with afflictions, and I still think that they should lower the amount of afflictions that you can get on your first trial down to maybe 2 or 3. Other than that, the only problem I actually ended up having in this trial was Rattlecage himself, because he has 75 fire res this early on in the game for some reason, and it just took a long time to whittle him down. And after I defeated him, I got my demon form ascendancy.
What falls behind? No challenge at all.
For the first few bosses after getting demon form, I didn't really use it during the boss fight because I was just too scared of the degen and then also doing the boss fight at the same time. There is quite a learning curve to using demon form in these boss fights. However, I think once you've used it enough, it's pretty easy to understand that the extra damage just kind of outweighs the risk, and really you just have to know how to dodge the bosses. There are two main things with demon form that contribute to deaths with the actual form itself. Number one is just staying in the form too long to the point where it's degenning you too fast and a mob just hits you and then you degen to death. The second problem is the cooldown, which is easily solved by using Second Wind. If you use Second Wind, it gives you 2 uses of the skill, and thus you don't have to feel like you have to stay in demon form the entire time, though you will lose obviously your stacks, but you can go back into it instantly and then start gaining stacks again. If I had Second Wind earlier, I feel like I would have used it more on some bosses, and then the other thing I could have done was dropped Raging Spirits and just put Vitality and Clarity on my character so I had some extra regen for mana and health. Alright, that wasn't that bad. I just had to get used to actually using demon form properly. Alright, so now we are on to the 2 bosses that I was most worried about for a fire character with no gear, and that was the Colossus and Torgol. Both of these bosses have incredibly high health pools and also high fire res. It is actually to a point where the flammability curse with heightened curse won't even actually bring their fire res to 0, which is just kind of insane. So I had to do Colossus first before I can even do Torgol, but this boss is quite simple. I think you could do this on a character that has literally like 2 DPS, because the boss itself, the only actual problem is the minions coming in, because you can just stand under his left armpit and he will never be able to hit you with any attack except for his palm slam that puts out the fire fissures. He does have another attack that can hit you where he slams his fist down, but this does not happen if you're standing under his armpit for some reason. I'm sure at some point they might fix this with the boss, but for now everyone should abuse it. It literally makes it so you cannot die to this boss as long as you dodge his palm attack and then dodge the next attack back to his armpit. It's such an insane strat, and it makes it so easy to do this boss. I really don't know why I was so scared to use Demon Form during this boss, because I could do it almost hitless with this strategy, and the thing is that the boss itself would have died so much quicker if I had just used Demon Form, but I was just too scared of the amount of health this boss has versus the amount of potions I'd have to use to stay in Demon Form. Okay. That was, whoopsie daisy. There isn't really much to say about Torgol. This boss is literally just, again, a meat stick with high fire res, and I was, again, too scared to use my Demon Form for the entire fight. I don't know if at some point they did a hidden change with this boss where its AI got changed so that it just randomly targets where it's going to do its head slam and palm slams now, but it made the boss a lot easier. I've noticed this with the last two characters, that the boss just seems to randomly attack in areas sometimes, and I guess maybe they did that on purpose, but maybe they didn't. I don't know. Either way, the boss went quite easily, and there really isn't much to say about this boss if you just stay behind him the entire fight. Okay, that took a while because I didn't want to risk Demon Form, but whatever. It's done. I'm going to do an unsped up kill of Jamin Ra because otherwise this video would just be way too short, but I just wanted to talk about the Demon Form stuff again. I was just too scared in the second phase to use Demon Form again, but you can see I had like at least 2 or 3 charges of my potion at the end, and I definitely could have used it to speed up the kill. And this is what I'm talking about with the learning curve, where you know how much extra damage you're going to get from it, and you can speed up the kill and reliably get out of the form. But again, not having second wind was one of the biggest problems.
Justice!
We're running out of time. End this.
Okay.
I will hold this oppressor at bay!
I was hoping to get a last second. Or, oh, did have an ignite on him. I will grind you into dust! 10,000 spears! The Malachites will pay! Our gift to you! Fatherhood is now! I will erase you! The Malachites will pay! Endless hate! Take our hate! Okay, I probably could use Demon Form more there, but at least we beat it.
The second.
So that's the end of Act 2. Demon Form is absolutely disgusting how much damage it gives a character. I'm literally gearless and I'm able to just do a stupid amount of damage. This is the lowest level I finished Act 2 at. I think I'm 2 levels under or 1 level under the level of the act, and that is disgusting for a gearless character. Usually I always over level so I have the extra health and stuff so that I can do the boss easier, but I did not need that because of Demon Form. And I just see this character being good throughout all of the campaign, even without gear. I just want to acknowledge that I'm seeing returning viewers constantly for these videos, and it's just awesome seeing people return to watch them, and thank you so much. Like, I cannot believe that there's actually people just sitting there watching every single episode of this, and it's making me so excited to make the Act 4 that I hope is coming out in the next patch, and I'm hoping that I can actually start putting out some, like, tutorials for these next bosses in the next patches, because there was just too many before. But now that I'm going to be getting some new bosses, hopefully I will make some guides for these bosses, because I already have many ways to beat these bosses typically that the guides don't even talk about. But that's the end of this video, and I hope to see everyone watching the next one. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. It helps the channel out so much, and I hope you find more gear than I do.